Now, at first, I was too sanguine. I admit that I was wrong. By 2005, I believed that we needed to make some changes. First of all, she, for some reason, wants to let AIG and Lehman Brothers and all this, all the private sector people off the hook, and she gives the Republicans a pass. They were in power, but she's blaming me. I guess the argument is that I somehow had some secret hold over Newt Gingrich and Tom DeLay, and I have to say this, if from 1995 on, I was really able to influence Tom DeLay, Clinton wouldn't have been impeached, we wouldn't have gone to war in Iraq, rich people wouldn't have gotten a tax cut, and Tom DeLay wouldn't have gone on the dance show. Those are all things that I would have said the other way. In fact, when the Republicans controlled the House from 95 through the end of 2006, no bill passed to regulate Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. In 2006, when it looked like we might take over, I talked to Hank Paulson, who had just been appointed Secretary of the Treasury. He says this in his book. And he said, you know, we got to do something. I said, you're right. I underestimated the problem. Housing is worse than I thought. I agree with you. And as he notes in his book, as soon as the election was over, I went to work with him. In 2007, that was the first time since '92 that a tough bill was passed to regulate Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Herb Moses was a man I was living with. He has, before I met him, had gotten a job as an economist at the Department of Agriculture. He had a degree in agricultural economics from the University of Wisconsin. He was editing the magazine of the Department of Economics. He then decided to go to business school. He went to the Tuck Business School at Dartmouth and specialized in real estate. He came out, he was living in Washington. There was a kind of real estate depression at the time, 1990, the S&L crisis, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were big employers. Here's a man with a degree, a BA in economics and an MBA in business specializing in real estate, and he applied to Fannie Mae, and in the course of interviewing him, they learned that he and I were living together, but Jerry McMurray, who was the hiring agent, points out, and he and I had this independently said the same thing, that he then asked me, hey, I see, you know, Herb Moses has applied, what do you think? I said, I think he's very good. So I didn't get him the job. She says it doesn't end too big to fail. The first big bailout, people remember, was of AIG. The Federal Reserve used its statutory power to give $80 billion to keep AIG going. We flat out repealed that law. The section of the law that the Federal Reserve was able to use to give money to AIG is repealed by the bill. They don't have it anymore. Secondly, we say that if an institution is in trouble and has to get, and is going out of business, and here's the issue. If a big institution is about to fail, if it owes so much money to so many other people, it can cause this vicious cycle. So the law now says for the first time, okay, if that happens, first the institution is out of business. We do have death panels. Sarah Palin got it half right. But the death panels are for banks, not old ladies. We say, okay, if you're going out of business, we may have to spend some money to minimize the negative impact. But before we spend a penny, you're out of business. You're all fired. There's no, the shareholders lose everything. It's dissolved. So there is no ongoing institution.